Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. It is 2:30 on April 2nd, 2:30-ish, 2:50. I want to talk about gun control and the Second Amendment for a minute. I had a thought about abolishing the Second Amendment. And here's how a guy like me, even if, all right, let's just say this is what it would take to allow the Second Amendment to be abolished by a guy like me. All right. Let's start with taking away everybody's guns. All right. Now, take away every gun in the country. Forget about foreign policy. We got a problem there, with foreign nationals and shit. But take away everybody's guns. Now, I figure if you take away everybody's guns, then you take away the police's guns. All of them. Not a gun in the country, except for maybe a half a dozen around the president. Not even around those congressmen. And what you do, this is my thought. You can't, everybody unarmed, police unarmed. Then, I thought, you give the police stun guns, because who needs a gun to combat, we'll get to that, to combat a non-firearm. If there's no firearms, why does a cop need anything but a stun gun? So we get that, all right? And we give them a sword, like a samurai sword. This is my thinking. This is a little bit of a joke, but this is what it would take. All right. The reason we give them a samurai sword is because everybody in the country gets a samurai sword. Everybody. Every single person in the country, except the criminally insane. All right. Everybody gets a samurai sword. But the cop samurai swords will give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll give him an extra 3 inches in length over the adult male and adult female samurai sword. That way he will have the advantage of the stun gun, the advantage of numbers, and a couple inches further to reach with his sword I'm sure he'll be proficient with, okay, if encountered by another sword. So we give them swords, and then, but what happens is because as people get older, they're more vulnerable. We have to up the length of the senior citizen's sword and lighten it and sharpen it to give them an equal advantage. And once they hit 65, their sword has to be 3 inches longer than the cop's sword. Only after 65. So then, of course, we'd have to, with that dearming of the country and creating a sword environment, we'd have to close the borders very significantly, because foreign nationals would want to come in with firearms if we didn't have a Second Amendment. And certainly there'd be attempts at smuggling. So we'd have to build a wall with armed guards and sensors, and not like deadly booby traps, but like booby traps where if you come across the border, a big net picks you up, like those gorilla traps. In the old days, in the black and white movies where Abbott and Costello stepped into the gorilla trap, So we need gorilla traps along the border, all right? So no guns, great. Everybody gets a sword, a sheath, I guess if you lose your sword, I don't know, do you get a new one? Yeah. If you lose your sword, you get a new sword, but they take 3 inches off the length of it. So there's a significant there's a wisdom in not losing your sword, a motivating factor. Yes. So that way now, we'll never have another shooting. And in school, kids bring their swords to school after a certain age, let's say after 18. Before 18, I don't know what they get. But before 12, they get water pistols. Because now that we have no guns anymore, we can't worry about mistaking a water pistol for a firearm. Right? So that would be great. That would be just great. Of course, other countries would be, really, really, really looking for us, We'd have to have a seriously strong military along the border. But then again, we'd have to have a buffer zone for the military of like 3 miles. And they can carry their gun in that buffer zone. But when they come back across the buffer zone into the United States of America, They got to drop their gun off, which will explode if they bring it across into the United States, and pick up their sword. So they do their military duty with the gun against the guys with the guns to keep them out. And then when they come back home to their barracks or where have you, they got to drop off their gun and pick up their sword. And if they bring a gun into the country, there's a death sentence. We'll keep that one real serious, you know. So anybody in the country with a gun, automatic death sentence, except 5 Secret Service agents. Whatever, you know. Nobody for Congress. Nobody. An aide. Because right now they're bulletproof. And I don't mean, don't take that the wrong way. They're just high and mighty. My God, I'm sorry. But what I'm saying is they're too fucking high and mighty. You know? They're not we the people kind of guys anymore. They're us, those people, you know. I don't want them having guns and us not having guns. That's not wise. Bad people take power. Sometimes bad people take power before we know it, you know. Sometimes bad people take power in a ballot box. But that happens a lot. What was the Star Wars movie? Something it said about there goes freedom or democracy to a roaring applause when the good guys, the bad politician conned all the people in those vast amount of bleachers. The loss of freedom to a loud applause. I could see that happening too. So there's my solution. No guns. Swords. Thank you very much. Bye.